Reporting live from the Nietzels household, this is Navigating Nietzels News with Carly Nietzel.
Hello everyone and welcome to Navigating Nietzels News. Our top story is America's Great Loop and concerns that not enough people are aware of this great American journey. Adventure of a lifetime, discussing the 6,000-mile journey that is America's Great Loop and where the route takes you. Perfect boat? Answering the question, what are the boat requirements in order to complete the loop? Looping wannabe Evan Nietzels weighs in. And finally, inside the mind, we sit down with Great Loop hopefuls and ask the question, why in the world do you want to do this? It is great to be with you, and we have a lot to cover. We're going to jump right in with a summary of America's Great Loop. The Great Loop is a 6,000-mile nautical journey done completely on water. America's Great Loop Cruisers Association says, at its essence, it is a circumnavigation of the eastern part of the United States and part of Canada. The route includes many waterways, such as the Atlantic Intracoastal Waterway, the New York State Canals, the Great Lakes, inland rivers like the Mississippi, where we grew up on, and many, many more. The Great Loop takes you through at least 15 states and Canadian provinces and typically takes about a year to complete. Next, we take you to looping wannabe Evan Nietzels as he discusses what the perfect boat is for the Great Loop. Evan?
Thank you, Carly. Today we are talking about the perfect boat for the Great Loop, which doesn't actually exist. It all depends on what you want. There's pros and cons to every boat, but there are a few requirements to do the Great Loop, such as the beam of your boat. It cannot be wider than 23 feet, pretty safe there. It can't be taller off the waterline than 17 feet to fit through Chicago. Can't be under the waterline more than 4 foot for shallow areas. And your boat must be able to go 208 miles on a tank of gas. Now with all of those requirements, the big one is length. Well, there's not really a length restriction as long as you fit in the locks, but the longer you are, the more expensive your loop will be. A lot of places you have to pay by the foot if you're docking and not on hook. So if you're between 34 to 36, that would be on the smaller end. 42 to 50 is about normal size, and anything above there is considered large. For the average person, I would say high 30s to mid 40s would be just fine. Now back to you, Carly.
All right, enough of the joking. We had a lot of fun putting that together, but we actually just wanted to sit and talk about everything, how we found out about the loop, what inspired us to do it, and a little bit more information on our personal timeline.
Yeah, the Great Loop, when you bring it up to people, they're like, either what is that?
Yeah.
Or when are you doing it? How are you doing it? There's a lot of questions that surround the Great Loop. So
I think we'll start at the very beginning of our journey of the Great Loop. So Evan and I are high school sweethearts. For those that don't know, we met in high school, dated for 2 years in high school, did 4 years of long distance in college. Now we are married. We live over 1,000 miles away from our hometown in the mecca of boating in South Florida. So we've really been exposed to it as of recently. But back in high school, Evan found out about the Great Loop. He learned about what it was, and he told me about it, and I thought it was really cool. Of course, we were in high school at the time and getting ready for college. So we said, okay, great, we'll do it when we retire. Well, a lot of life has happened and we're still so young, but we don't really want to wait.
I don't specifically remember how I learned about it, if it was like in a magazine somewhere or a phone scrolling one day, or I heard it on the radio or a podcast or something.
Yeah, I don't really know either.
But I remember not knowing what it was and Googled it. And then when I Googled it, I saw it was a true loop in the U.S., completely connected. And I was like, that's unique. I want to do that.
It's cool for us too because we grew up on the Mississippi in eastern Iowa. Now the loop doesn't actually touch Iowa in the Mississippi, but because we have so much familiarity with the Mississippi River, that's a draw for us, I would say.
Yeah.
So
we always thought it'd be cool to go by our hometown on the loop, but you'd have to turn and go north.
Right.
Up the Mississippi a little ways, which
it'd be out of the way, but we could totally do it.
It'd be a neat story.
Yeah. We just have had a lot of conversations lately that life is not all about your job. There's so much more to it. and we're young, we don't have kids yet, so why not do it now? Life is not promised. We've seen that firsthand in our own family, that you never know what could happen tomorrow, so we have to live, as cliche as it sounds, like every day is your last. And for us, that means working towards doing the Groot Loop now rather than later.
Yeah, so working towards it looks like learning how to shop for boats, what to look for, the questions to ask.
Yep.
How do you find them? Are you going through a broker? We're starting that process now. We're getting in the community, boat surveyors, how you can store a boat before.
Learning a lot.
So
the next video will actually be our first time boat shopping. We look at 3 different boats, and it is crazy from those first 3 boats how much we learned, I would say.
You don't really know what you're getting into until you start looking. When we bought this house, once you start looking at houses, you're like, okay, my budget's accurate, or wow, I need to save more, or
exactly,
this area is good, this area is bad. Similar with boat shopping, you can't rush it, and so we're starting looking.
Yeah, I would say the goal for our channel and our journey of the Great Loop is to take you along on the journey with us from start to finish. So we want to take you along with us over the next year or 2 years, whatever that looks like, of the planning of every single thing, from learning about it, boat shopping, planning the route, going to a rendezvous, joining the AGLCA, all of those things.
How you get your dog on the boat.
Ripley's going to be coming with us for sure. So a lot to learn that we want to teach you guys while we're learning it in real time. You can learn from our mistakes. Maybe we can give you some tips of things that we learn. We want it to really be a learning experience, not just for us, but for others, a teaching experience.
Something we can look back on.
Yeah, definitely like a video diary, and a community where we're encouraging people to maybe get out of their comfort zone, to do something they never dreamed of doing, and just realizing that there's such a beautiful life out there to be lived. So
yeah, every time we travel, we come back and we're like, wow, that was great. I mean,
as
you
most
learn
people
so
feel
much,
that way.
whether it's a good vacation or a bad vacation, or it's a holiday trip or a funeral trip. Traveling has always been fulfilling. I think a lot of people say, oh, I like to travel.
Yeah.
So putting that into your lifestyle is kind of what it looks like.
Right. Another reason why we are starting to document this is because if we don't start planning, if we don't put in the work to make this a reality, it just won't happen. We can dream for years and years and years, but if you don't put in the steps to make it happen, it won't happen. So we've just decided, like I said, life's too short, and we're going for it.
We're gonna make it happen.
Right.
There's not really a right way to do it, but the best way to learn is to just be in the community. So that's gonna be our next step, is join the American Great Loop Association, get signed up, start going to their happy hour, start talking to people that have done it sometimes multiple times. People have done it. So I think that's where this next journey is gonna go.
I don't know if we'll get even one comment on this video, but I would love to do a Q&A in the future. So if you do have any questions for us as very, very beginner Great Loop wannabes, please comment and let us know, because I'm sure we will be doing a Q&A later on some point in the channel. If there's anything you want to see, let us know. If you have any advice for us moving forward, please let us know that too.
Cheers.
Cheers to the official beginning of our Great Loop planning. All right, we ready to sign off? Love you, bye. This weekend, we are looking at 3 different boats.
This is my dad's boat, and I'm helping him sell it.
Gotcha.
He's 90.
Okay. She's a cutie.
That could be the one compared to the last one. Never mind, scratch that. You can delete this.
We were both pretty blown away.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was great.
Thank you, Carly. We are out here today focusing on... It's too funny.